The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily represent those of NCTV, its officers and volunteers, or Cox Cable or Frontier Communications, their employees, or the town of Newington, its elected officials or employees. The producer of this program is solely responsible for its content.
It's holiday time. He's the mayor. You can tell he's got his little Santa hat. It says the mayor across the front of it. I got my dogs. I got my dog, and I got my red. Let's hope that this is the December show, because if we got this one wrong and we're dressed like this, it would be awfully silly. But, yeah, this is December 3rd. We are live on your NCTV 14, your community access television station. I'm Steve Parker. He's Mayor Z, Roy Zartarian. How are you?
Good, Mr. Parker, and yourself?
Good. Nice to see you. How's everything going?
Everything's been going wonderfully.
Yeah.
Wonderfully.
Last 30 days, fairly active?
Yeah. You know, we're starting the holiday season and gearing up town-wise for budget. We had that wonderful annual event 2 days ago, the Night of Lights in the Center, put on by Parks and Recreation, and they outdid themselves this year. Yeah. It was really a fantastic
Closed Main Street. They closed Main Street.
Closed Main Street, which is really a feat to close Main Street. But it was well worth it. The weather cooperated. What they're going to do next year to top this year, I have no idea. But
leave it to Bill DeMayo.
Oh, he'll find something. He'll find something.
And of course, we had the singers out there. Was the high school band out there? What?
It was the high school and the two middle schools. Excuse me. Combined their choirs. And at one point, even members of the town council were singing. Our role was to sing the Partridge in the Pear Tree verse of the 12 Days of Christmas.
Oh, so you were part of that, and of course the fire department was always part of that.
The fire department did a great job decorating their trucks, bringing Santa Claus in. A wonderful time.
So do they have the firemen have the 5 golden rings? Is that what they have when they sing the 12 Days of Christmas?
I don't know. I was just worried about my own part. I couldn't
Well, it's the last thing, and a partridge in a pear tree. You shouldn't get that one wrong.
Well, I know, but I do get nervous.
And what they did, like 5 to 8 out there, right? And
5 to 8.
Yeah, and I also Bill DeMayo, of course, was the great guy. He's done so much here in the town of Newington as our head of Parks and Rec. And one of my favorite things, of course, is always when you see that wreath across Mill Pond Falls. Thank you, Bill. That's what really says Newington to me.
Yes.
And I remember we used to have the gathering there.
Right.
And hopefully we'll be able to do more of that in the future, because we're getting a whole brand new town hall and all that kind of stuff.
I hope so. Bids are out there. They're coming in, I think, next week.
Well, yeah, but I'm just thinking, now we have that. Maybe we could have another little, event down there, and
Sounds
be
good to me.
Did they have a lot of? Was there food out on the sidewalk too at the?
Yeah, there was some food. There was fires going where people could make s'mores.
Oh, really? Fires going where people could make s'mores?
Barrel fires.
Really?
Yeah, they were controlled, managed fires.
You had the fire. If the fire department were there and the trucks were decorated and they missed the fire in the barrel, it wouldn't be good.
No random fire bugs at work.
Oh, good.
But,
and perfect night. The weather was great for it.
Excellent weather.
Wow.
The hayride, the long line for the hayride through the municipal lot.
Too?
Yeah.
So what did they take from the center of town to the municipal?
I think it was mostly around the municipal lot.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe at Market Square.
Well, back in the, like I say, in the 80s or whatever, when we were doing it over at Mill Pond Falls, and Nels Nelson would be there, and he would bring his sleigh, and he'd bring Santa on his sleigh. Remember when Santa was only this big? He was just a little elf of a guy. But that's great. Right. But we still have Santa in residence here at the town of Newington.
We always have Santa.
Yeah. Amazing.
And then we had Santa's helpers. See.
Oh, do we have stuff for Cruiser? Was that just?
That was this past weekend, Saturday.
How did that go?
Very well.
Yeah.
Newington always responds.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Newington responding, you brought a guest with you tonight.
I certainly did. I brought our representative-elect for the 27th district, Gary Turco.
Hi, Gary.
Welcome.
Hello, Mayor.
Hi, Gary.
Hello, Steve. Thank you so much for having me.
Pleasure
to be here.
Pleasure to have you here.
Well, when we heard that Gary was the representative, we immediately thought that Gary been just reelected. Then we realized it was Gary, it wasn't Gary. So that's kind of wild. We've gone from Gary to Gary.
You had to be careful in the campaign when you said vote for Gary.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it was great. But I had met you wandering around through my neighborhood, and you came up my driveway, and I got halfway under the Jeep before you caught me by the ankle. But,
it was Abby that gave you away.
Yeah, well, that's what always happens. But so this is a whole new arena for you. Tell us a little bit about your political background. I mean,
Sure.
You don't just step into a position like this.
Yeah, well, thanks again for having me. I'm very excited to be here and be representing Newington now at our state capitol. I got started in politics back in college. I went to Sacred Heart University down in Fairfield.
Oh, yeah.
Went to school there to be a business major, and then found out quickly freshman year that I had this interest in politics. I came up, I interned at the state capitol, got to meet Sandy Nafis and Paul Doyle and Tony Guerrero and a whole bunch of people up there, and really enjoyed it. And when I graduated school, I started working up at the state capitol and became a policy aide. So I helped write legislation, general law issues, children issues.
Oh, so there's paid jobs up at the Capitol?
Yes, there are some.
Well, I know. I mean, I just thought all those guys
I wish I had one.
Yeah, I did that for about 10 years. And I was, behind the scenes and just learning all about the legislative process and helping pass some really good policies, expanding services for people with autism, preventing childhood lead poisoning. So a lot of issues I became very passionate about.
So so now by stepping into the arena, at least you've got a little bit of a background that way.
Yeah, that helps. I was up at the state capitol meeting today, and I know where the bathrooms are, I know where the park, and I know the people to talk to get things done. So that's a good start.
And when's the opening day of the session?
January 9th, I'll be sworn in.
Okay.
Yes.
How long have you been in town?
I bought my home here in 2010.
Okay.
I live in Williamstown Court condos.
Oh, yeah.
Previously, I had lived in West Hartford for many years, but when it was time to I felt a homeowner.
Yeah.
I looked around in surrounding communities and really liked Newington. I feel like it's very value-oriented here, and people are very caring and intimate. Like you said, people step up when there's people that are in need for help. So I decided to buy a home here.
Now, what about, Jonathan Harris was pretty active up there when you were at the Capitol, right?
Yeah.
And he's another guy, West Hartford, right?
Yeah, and he actually lived in Newington for some time.
Yeah, because he used to do a show here
as well. Yeah,
he did some stuff here at Channel 14.
Yep.
He had some stuff going on.
You looked at the other towns. What do you think sets Newington apart? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Newington first has this great strategic location throughout our state.
Yeah.
So you're near all the major highways, you're near businesses, you're near the Capitol, very easy to get to places. It's a more close-knit community than some other areas as well. I feel like it's a town where you can easily get to know everyone, you can get involved quickly, and feel like you're part of a family here. And even... Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say you were involved there, or you are involved in the Development Commission here in town.
Economic Development Commission, yes.
Oh, that must be fun.
You still keeping up with that? I know I should know that, but I don't read the membership lists every day.
I was on Town Planning and Zoning at one point in time,
right.
and now I'm on the Economic Development Commission.
Excuse me, what does planning and zoning do, actually? I mean, when you're in there, you do planning and zoning, but explain a little bit more of what that is.
It deals with permits for developments like the ill-fated Dakota project on Cedar Street.
Oh, okay.
Establishes compliance with zoning requirements. I know we had issues with signs, for example, that have to meet certain requirements. The zoning, the town planner's office handles that based on the town plan and zoning regulations. It's basically a land use function.
And now what's the committee you're involved with now?
Economic Development Commission.
Okay.
So that's working with our businesses here in the town to help them expand and grow and attract new businesses. And
how are we doing in that, Mr. Mayor? How are we doing as far as getting new businesses coming in? How are we? What's our batting average right now?
Well, let me
wins
tell you,
losses.
Let me tell you, I drove down Market Square. We're getting a new restaurant called Dilly's.
What is it called?
Dilly's.
Dilly's.
D-I-L-L-Y''S. They said it's a taste of the island or something like that. It's
like
where
Staten Island?
Long Island. Rhode Island. It's where Envy used to be.
Oh, okay.
The Envy Hair Studio on Market Square. But there's just a sign in the window. I went up there. I thought they were open already. I'd seen something about it, so I was going to go grab some lunch.
He's always doing that, sniffing around, looking for research.
Oh, well, you want a good breakfast? First Sunday of every month, go to the Masonic Hall on Walsh Avenue.
First Sunday of every month?
Yeah.
Is it open to anybody?
Yep, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Wow, I gotta make
$8.
How much?
8.
Okay.
Eggs, toast, pancakes, bacon, and sausage.
Hey, just right there on Walsh Avenue.
And beverages, juice and coffee.
Yeah. Mimosas? Bloody Marys?
No, they don't have the license for that. you got to bring it in by
I have to ask these things.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Wow. So that now, so where are they going to be? And where was Envy? Was that near the pizza place? Near Newington Pizza?
Yeah, close to that.
Yeah. It's a couple of doors east of the pizza place.
Mm-hmm. Well, I really feel I'm embarrassed to say I forgot the name of the place. But there's a new massage place that opened up on, really therapeutic massage. It's okay, Mr. Mayor. I'm not on the Berlin Turnpike. I'm in Newington Center.
Yeah.
It's right on Cedar Street there.
Yep, Del Sol.
What is it?
Del Sol.
Oh, they did a beautiful job in the old house, and you go in there, and it's just, oh, my God.
Oh, yeah.
Right over near Roma.
I was over there for their grand opening. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Nice group of people.
Yes.
Yeah, I went in there, and I think
it's Del Sol, but I'm not sure.
And my friend of mine just had a massager. She said it was excellent there.
Yeah, I know. It was. I had a gift for one there, and it was just. I thought, a massage. Whoa, my God, it's incredible. Holy, you should get a lot of those before and after the town council meetings, Mr. Mayor. That would be very therapeutic for you. Get a couple of those knots out of your back, right?
Oh.
That or scotch, right?
Now, somebody just sent a note. Also, I'm sorry. I need to tell you that we do have text availability tonight. So if you are at home and it is you are tuning in, and it is the 3rd of December, Monday the 3rd, feel free to text us at 860-305-9801 is our text, 305-9801. And if you just shoot a text there, I got it right here. I remembered it this time. 305-9801 is our text. So please text in any questions you have. I'd be happy to take them right here. 305-9801. We are having some issues with the phones. Surprise, surprise. But anyways, but if you do call in, they'll make sure that they also send a message over to us. So if you just give a message when you call in, they'll get that note to us also. And that's 667-5814, our regular call into the studio line. And this is gosh, is it? Yeah, it's about 7:15 or so on the first Monday, December. So 667-5814 is the studio line, and 305-9801 if you want to text us. So feel free to do that. But let's see, off the air, what do you think are Newington's short-term goals, long-term goals? How's that one sound? That's you. He knows.
Well, I think let me start with the long-term goals, but I think they're both very connected. Newington, we have great services here. I mean, I went for the tour for the senior center with Diane Stone and the staff there, with the rest of the delegation, Matt Lesser and Kerry Wood and Rick Lopes. Mm-hmm. Excellent senior center, excellent Parks and Recs department, excellent schools. We have good. I think we're very good for business as well. I mean, we're mostly built out, but we still have some other economic development opportunities that we can talk about. But for the most part, it's a great town. People really like living here. Just need to keep it affordable for people. So keep those property taxes lower without cutting services. And I think that needs to be the long-term goal and the short-term goal both. I mean, how do we maintain all these amazing services that people come to Newington for, want to be here, without pricing people out so they have to move, all right? And I think one of the ways that we do that, of course, will be my job with the Newington delegation at the state, making sure we get our fair share of state funding so we can help Newington with offsetting their cost with state funds. And the other way we do it is strategic and smart economic development. And we've talked about the idea of a Newington train station, which would be great for mass transit, and then development around that train station, having our own Newington, let's say, Blueback Square with some restaurants and some shops and some offices, and maybe, there's some new companies that come in that want to be around the mass transit. And that business revenue can help offset the residential tax revenue.
So excuse me, where would this Newington, would it be like where Newington Junction is, or how?
No, we're looking at the site across from 550 Cedar Street, on the south side of Cedar Street, in the area of Sousa Heat Treating, across from the old Crust Pontiac.
Oh, okay, right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got some challenges because it's wetlands for one thing. Looking at zoning issues that have to be resolved by town plan and zoning. Town manager did make a presentation on a concept, and I must emphasize this is a concept.
A concept, yeah.
Department of Transportation says it's a concept. It's not even on the books yet, because for one thing, it costs money.
Sure.
And
Yep. There's your concept.
What it would do, on the other hand, in addition to developing that area, is finally, I hope, address the Alumni Road issue, that intersection.
And that needs to be one of our other goals, too, with traffic throughout town. I mean, that seems to be one of the biggest complaints people have.
This is
especially with Cedar and Maine.
I told you at our meeting what you could do for that. Just let me put the tolls on Cedar Street.
Keep people on Route 9.
I'll give the state a taste. The only ones we'd hit are those going from 9 to 15. And, everybody else gets a free ride.
And that is something that DOT, because they do want this train station, it's a good strategic spot for what they're trying to build with this commuter rail line, the Hartford line, is to do a whole traffic calming project within all of Cedar, from basically Route 9 to Berlin Turnpike. And part of that will be fixing Alumni Road and Maple Hill Avenue, that intersection there.
Now, something, we've talked about that forever. We've talked about trying to get that little joggle there to line up completely. We've also talked about the fact that there's no way we've ever been able to put sidewalks on Cedar Street. Because if you go across to, to like Alumni and try to go over to, come up to the center of town, the way the grade is there, whatever, we've never had any luck with getting sidewalks out there. I mean, that whole area there's been so much talk through the years about doing something, but nothing seems to get done.
Things are in discussion stages. I do want to say that, it's the problem was a long time building.
Oh, God, yeah.
It's going to be a long time getting it resolved.
Yeah.
Yes, we're aware of the need for sidewalks. The sidewalks impose a burden of maintenance on either the property owner, state DOT, or the town. That's got to be worked out.
Yeah, because we've got so many great sidewalks in town. That's always been that one little pet peeve for a lot of people, is that area. But it is tricky. And what are they doing out there now? They've got all this construction and everything.
That's MDC.
Putting
in water mains and sewer pipes.
Okay.
Basically, they're repairing their infrastructure.
Okay.
And we're getting at least one new hydrant, if not more, out of the deal.
Huh?
One new hydrant.
We're getting a new hydrant out of the deal.
Well,
is this a good thing?
And the people whose sewers are backing up are being taken care of that way too. That's part of.
Well, look at the problem we had on Young Farm over there.
Yeah.
Those houses that were off of Young Farm, and all those trees died behind there and everything. But all that got squared away with all the work they did up there, right? Yeah, it's amazing. But now, so when you talk about the Alumni Road, Maple Avenues, is that something that could possibly happen in the in the next 5 or 10 years?
I would say yes. It would definitely. We definitely come up with an approach to it.
And then, of course, trying to collect that road through that goes by the skating rink and comes up to Fafner?
Yeah, that's Alumni Road as well, connecting to Veterans Drive. Or no, pardon me, Alumni Road does go to Willard.
But there's that fence
there that DOT insisted on, it required, until such time as there is appropriate control at Alumni Road and Cedar Street.
So until that's right, they don't want to open up all that traffic because that could be a nightmare.
Right.
Oh, I get you.
Although while the night work was going on Cedar Street with MDC, that gate was open so that traffic could
Oh, really?
detour. Yeah.
Oh, terrific.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good.
That's good.
So if they're going to do some sort of a Newington station, it would be like a major thing over by Crest Pontiac, and this would be like long after our grandchildren have died, right?
Yes.
It just seems some of these things are good. Well,
we're talking about a train station, but have you seen this station in Berlin? I mean, basically, it's a glorified platform.
Incredible.
But it's a very nice platform.
Yeah, the tough thing, of course, on that was, it was such a great historic building.
I know.
And when that fire happened, it was awful.
We're ignoring our guest, and that's very rude.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. Well, I thought he was in on. Okay.
No, because
okay.
Go ahead. I facetiously touched on one subject that I know people want to know about. Okay. So, what are you going to do about tolls on state highways?
Oh.
Well, people ask me this when I went door to door, throughout the campaign too, and I know it's a touchy subject for a lot of people. People usually have strong opinions one way or the other. I don't personally want to pay any tolls. Don't want to add another burden to the residents or taxpayers of Newington having to pay this extra fee when they are driving to New York or visiting family in Waterbury or something like that. But I do know that we do have a serious problem with our roads, tunnels, and bridges with deferred maintenance, billions of dollars of maintenance that we should have been keeping up with, and we didn't because we didn't have the funding to do it for many years now. And I know a lot of people think that the state probably wasted away a lot of funding that could be used for this, but in reality, the Special Transportation Fund, which is we get the revenue from that from the gas tax, does not produce the amount of revenue it once did. Cars are more energy efficient. People are using electric cars. There's hybrid cars, and you're not filling that revenue pot like we once did. So we need additional revenue to be able to keep up with all of our maintenance. We have 300 bridges right now in the state that are in severe condition. You've heard about it recently in Florida. There was one in Milan, Italy. I mean, we've had it here in Connecticut where bridges have collapsed. There's been loss of life.
We started it.
Yeah, back at Miamis.
Yeah, right.
Bridge.
I don't want that hanging over me or anybody. So we have to deal with the problems. We don't have to go with tolls. But we're going to have to either then increase the gas tax, we're going to have to increase an income tax, a sales tax, or cut a whole bunch of programming that people want, like aids to towns, which ends up just increasing our property taxes anyway. With tolls, it's the one option that you can have out-of-state drivers and out-of-state residents help pay for the cost of the roads, tunnels, and bridges that they are using. And we're such a small state, the third smallest state landmass-wise, that a lot of people are zipping through our state. They're not stopping and filling up their gas tanks to even give us that revenue. So here's an opportunity where you're going to be able to have them help pay for the cost. Now, I won't support a proposal, though, unless it's going to have some sort of discount to Connecticut residents versus the out-of-state drivers. I'm told with the Easy Pass, this is very easy to do. Most of the other states do this already.
Yeah.
We're one of the last states in the whole region that doesn't have tolls.
My Easy Pass came from New Jersey,
Yeah.
I tried going through without one time. Oh my God. Finally, after I waited so long, because I didn't understand. I'd gone into New York, and I never even saw anything. Finally, I opened that envelope with a picture of my license plate on it and went, son of a gun, it must be legit.
Right.
But what about, I think the concern that I have anyways, I remember where you say, okay, here's the toll booth, I'm going to pay my money here and I'm going to go on. How do we know the way that the tolls that you folks are talking about now are kind of like invisible? I mean, how do we know where they are? They could be on what streets, wherever you want to put them, and what every month I get a bill as to what, what I went through? Is there a sign that warns me for the next 100 miles there's tolls or what?
Oh, sure. And it's still visible, the actual system that's set up to then record your Easy Pass.
Some sort of a
I don't know if you've gone to
structure?
JFK Airport in the last few years. I mean, you go over the Verrazano Bridge. Not the Verrazano Bridge, the Whitestone Bridge. And you see, it says toll is coming up. It tells you the amount. And you can see the actual equipment set up for the
So
toll.
we will see that?
Yes.
Okay. So, because they were talking, at one point in time, they were talking about paying so much per mile or per...
Yeah.
Is that really what this is doing? I don't get it because
so there's all kinds of proposals out there, you know, and I mean there's studies that are going on right now on how that will look. So we'll see.
We're getting taxed to the max, though. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, we just got done with 8 years of lunacy. I mean, a wonderful guy. No matter what you think, he's Malloy is a nice guy, but I don't know about a lot of this other stuff that happened, and I do not. You got 8 years of that craziness going on.
Yeah. That brings up another point. How do you see Connecticut finally getting out of debt?
Big debt.
Looking at the unfunded pension liabilities and the bonding it's been doing, what do you see coming down the road to get the state back in the black again?
Well, like you had said earlier with the Alumni Road and Maple Avenue, I mean, these problems weren't created overnight, so they're not going to be solved overnight either. We have made a lot of changes within our state, and I haven't been there to be part of these changes, but I think a lot of them are setting us up in the right direction going forward in redoing the pension system for new hired employees. So there's a Tier 4 system now. It's a hybrid for a 401k. It's more in line with the private industry. But our liabilities go back to 50 years of not properly paying the pension funds. We underfunded them. And both administrations, Republicans and Democrats. Malloy was actually the first governor that came in that said, wow, this is a very serious problem, and I'm going to make a lot of tough decisions people are going to dislike so that we can set up things to help pay these down going forward and get them more to a more manageable rate. Because right now it's going to be next year 25–30% of our general fund is going towards paying off this debt. That's a lot of money that we could be using to help people with developmental disabilities, more assistance to towns, helping reduce the cost of higher education, small business assistance that we can't do. But we have kind of refinanced the pension system now so that if we continue to pay off, continue to make these payments over the next 30 so years, we'll get to where it's more manageable. But in the meantime, it is going to be difficult. So we have to either find some cuts in areas, and we have to find areas where we can add more revenue.
Just got
We got a
comment
question?
in here. I thought the gas tax goes into the general fund, not the transportation fund.
Yeah, I thought the gas tax was into the general fund and not the transportation fund. Tell us a little bit about that. You guys should both know an answer to this.
Because we had,
No, as far as I know, the gas tax goes into the special transportation fund.
There was constitutional amendment on that vote. It wasn't there.
So we just had a constitutional amendment this past election that would create a lockbox for all special transportation, all funding that goes into, which would include the tolls, the gas tax, and others, that then it can't be touched unless there's some kind of emergency. So currently, if the gas tax and other revenue that goes into the special transportation fund, it is true that the state, before this referendum, could have taken that money and used it for other general fund purposes. But we did not have enough money going in, so that they weren't taking it. They were actually putting additional funding from the general fund into the special transportation fund in the form of additional bonding to help cover the cost of our maintenance for our roads and bridges.
Did he answer that?
Yes.
Okay.
Just like a politician, exactly the way I would have done it.
Well, I just watched you sit back.
And I would really prefer personally not to have tolls. But if it comes to a proposal where we're going to have to increase sales tax, income tax, property tax, gas tax versus tolls, then I would rather have tolls than those other increases.
See, something like a sales tax is regressive, where people of lower incomes are paying more of a higher percentage of their income, such as it is, in taxes than somebody who's middle class, for example, or upper class, I mean, just stop and think about it. I mean, it's the same sales tax percentage applied no matter what your income, unlike an income tax, for example. But we won't talk about the income tax again.
You think, I mean, we see so many numbers, we hear so many people talking about, getting the heck out of Connecticut as soon as they possibly can. But, because of this insane taxing situation that's going on, but, we don't really have any other options. But how are the other states getting such better reports than we are? Is that because we've been messing things up for so many years here? Either one of you, I'll go for it.
Well, don't forget, other states may have a greater dependence on the personal income tax than we do. They may be selling alcohol the way New Hampshire does, though I don't know how much money that brings in the state coffers. There could be counties, for example, that are performing services over a wider network, wider scope than what 169 towns in Connecticut are doing. So, I should have looked at it, but I haven't.
But the marijuana thing that Massachusetts just went with, right?
That's another one.
No, but that's another source of revenue for the state, right?
Yeah, but how much?
Yeah.
And what's the cost going to be? Colorado, for example, is running into problems with liability. Employers are finding their employees are coming in high, finding certain classes of occupations suddenly are jeopardized, like school bus drivers. Would you want a school bus driver going on duty after puffing a legal joint?
Because we have the medicinal stuff, so this is talking about taking further where it'd be more for anybody.
Do you see, where do you stand on the marijuana issue?
Yeah, I support recreational marijuana use. I believe that it's similar to alcohol use. You have most people that are responsible, that aren't going to drink and then get behind a school bus, aren't going to smoke marijuana and get behind a school bus. You have a percentage, though, of anything that's out there, whether it's sugar, caffeine, whether it's drugs, whether it's alcohol, that, abuse.
They don't know moderation.
So I think with marijuana, most people are responsible. Adults, you're going to have someone that, of course, is going to abuse it, but most people can be responsible, and they have easy access to what I'm told now. So if someone really wants to use marijuana, they're using it, but they're doing it on the black market. It's making, who knows, illegal cartel money rather than the government being able to tax it. And they're potentially buying it from an unsafe source that could be laced with something, or it could be dangerous. So here we have a proposal where we can regulate it, we can tax it, we can make sure that only people of a certain age, 21 and over, are using it, and have serious consequences, just like we do with alcohol. If you come, you're drunk and you go to work, or you are driving, you will lose your job, you will lose your license, there's serious consequences.
They still have to find a good way, though, to test somebody who's been smoking and driving. You could do that with booze. If you want to get high with us, oh no, I'm sorry. This is the Talk to the Mayor program. All right, and it's the holiday edition of the Talk to the Mayor program. This being the 3rd of December, about 7:35 right now. Our special in-studio guest is Gary Turco, who's the new representative for the town of Newington, who's going to be up at the Capitol with us in just a few weeks, and hopefully you can keep the lines open and come in from time to time to the show. But if you have any questions and you would like to ask a question, you can give us a call at 860-667-5814. They'll pass your question through to us, and they're going to have to do it all by the keyboard tonight just because of some technical situations. So 667-5814 if you have a question for Gary Turco or the mayor or myself. Not myself. Gary Turco or the mayor. You don't want to ask me anything. 667-5814. Or you can also text us We should probably put that text number, leave that up there at 305-9801, 860-305-9801. And feel free, and the program will run again and again on the NCTV.org website. So we always try to keep those shows up there for quite a while, too, if you'd like to see any of the other programs. All right, we've got, I think a question's coming in from Sally. We're waiting for Sally's question to arrive. Yeah, you know, it's interesting because I worked in the concert business for a while. And it will say the biggest difference is, and I saw it perfect on Facebook the other day, you know, you give 5 guys a beer and there's a fight, 5 guys with a joint, there's a band. You know, we never had any violent issues as far as the marijuana side went. I mean, we never did. There was never even one fight. But as soon as they started bringing alcohol in, that's when that came on. So as far as when that argument comes and they talk about a gateway drug, and all, it's just a ridiculous argument because there are a lot of people out there that, you know, it's helped them. But it's not like, you know, they just have to be able to detect it more, test them more. But it's not any more of a gateway drug than I've lost, unfortunately, as a lot of us have friends to alcohol. Mm-hmm. You know, so that. But the question is, if there's a way we can get money for the state of Connecticut, we should get it. Equal pay for both minorities and women. Sally wants to know.
Yeah, what's your plan?
What do you think of that equal pay? Take a shot at it. See what Sally says.
Yeah, I'm of course certainly supportive of equal pay for everybody.
Yep.
And I'll be supportive of different proposals. I haven't seen a recent new legislative proposal, but I have been going around meeting with many organizations. I'm meeting with them all this week right here in Newington. I'm meeting with Working Families organization tomorrow to hear their proposal on equal pay for women and minorities. So I'm going to learn a lot more about that subject and see which areas we can improve in.
Doesn't it seem so crazy that that's even a discussion here in 2018 that we're still having that discussion about equal pay?
You know, and I think one of the areas for
everybody
women,
knows women should make more, right?
They're the smarter gender, so
they do a lot more than we do.
But I think a big issue I heard on the campaign trail for women is paid family medical leave is a particular issue when a woman becomes pregnant or is taking care of, and this goes for men too, but taking care of a parent who is sick, and they need to be able to go and do that and not have the fear of losing their job, but also have a system where they're paying into an insurance system where you pay in, and then when you need to go take care of a sick child or a parent or you're having a baby, you can then have money to take care of your family during that time. So paid family medical leave could be one of those areas that helps. Another area is childcare. I spoke to parents in town that said that childcare is very expensive. So a lot of times it will be the woman who stays home, not always, but you know, in the cases I heard, the woman who stays home takes care of the child while the husband still works. And in those cases, because childcare is so expensive. But then when they go back into their career, they've lost years of promotions, and so that affects things too.
And Mr. Mayor, you have quite a few things I know you wanted to ask our representative. Are there some things there you want to cover?
Here's a good one. This goes right to the heart of Newington's economy. How are you going to advocate for small businesses?
Yeah, so I come from a long line of small businesses between my great-grandfather, my grandfather, and my father. I have family members that have small businesses here in town. I mentioned down in West Haven, manufacturing. So I continuously hear from their struggles. And I've gotten to know a lot of members of our Chamber of Commerce, trying to get to know them and what their struggles are. So there's different areas. I mean, one, I am supportive of our Small Business Express programs we have here. Omar Coffee. I don't know if you've tried their coffee. I was just in there the other day, got a little gift basket. Friends were taking care of my dog for me when I was going down to the city to visit my dad. And it's a great small business that got a grant from the Small Business Express program to then grow their business and stay here in our state. So I'm supportive of different grant programs like that that assist them.
Just as an aside, Council some years ago gave a tax abatement to Omar, as I recall, to set up. And history time. If you go back into the archives of Omar Coffee back when they were in Hartford, first getting started, you'll find the signature of my father who did the legal work.
No.
Wow. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Holy Toledo.
Yeah. Yeah.
That explains all that coffee. You still get it. No. But now, how long ago was that, Mr. Mayor?
This would have had to have been in the
30s?
No, probably the 1940s.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Way back, some history. All right, we've got Alice has a question here. A number of houses for sale on Willard Avenue, and Alice is worried that they're going to make Willard wider. Doesn't that sound like, Willard's going to be wider?
Not to my knowledge in the plan, unless DOT has a super secret plan.
What is it, just coincidental then that this many houses
Yeah,
are?
I think part of it was some panic selling because of the diesel spill in the brook.
Oh, okay. Yep.
We're coming up about a year on that.
Yep.
The booms are still there. They're collecting. There's still gunk in the ground. I mean, with the 13,000 gallons of diesel fuel, you expect it. So the booms are still there, and as it leaches out, it'll be captured by the booms on the brook. So, as I said, I do not see making Willard Avenue wider, at least in my lifetime. So.
Yeah, all right. What else? Have you got anything else over there?
What else have we got?
I know there's a few different things you want to cover, and before we say goodbye to Gary, I know we've got some issues you want to go over.
What are your favorite places in town? Where's it really happening?
Well, to go eat or hang out?
You bet, everything.
I keep going to meetings at TJ's. That's a popular spot. Rooster Company as well. I am I'm dying to go to this Montana axe throwing.
There you go.
I didn't have any time during the campaign trail, but it looks so neat, and I really want to go and check that out and have some fun.
Yeah.
You guys after the show? Axe throwing. And give me a call back. Let me know how it went.
The council may go as a team building event. Of
really?
Course. We won't be allowed to discuss business. We won't post it as a meeting, but
Holy Toledo.
as a social gathering, which is permitted under the Freedom of Information Act, we may be there. Of course, they may issue us rubber axes, depending on where we are in the budget process.
That could happen. Yeah, that place has been drawing a good crowd.
Yeah. And I try to frequent as many Newington businesses as possible.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm up and down the Berlin Turnpike, Mykonos, and I went to lunch at Saz, the Jamaican restaurant, a couple of days ago.
How's the business going there? Were you there recently?
I was there for lunch, so it was slow, but the food is good.
Good.
Good. Jamaican, right?
They have a lunch special, too, $10. You get the big portion of barbecue chicken and some rice and some
nice.
Vegetables, so that was good. So.
Yeah, I think one of the problems we have here in town, and a lot of it has to do with signage, like a place like that, if they could have an apron out front at lunchtime, so it's like lunch special, $9.95 or something. Some of these places on the Pike that I've seen, and it goes back, I was involved with the chamber back in the 1980s, and that was always a problem. A place, if you could let people know when they're going down the turnpike, at 60 miles an hour or whatever, and they're flying by, that you don't know where the specials are, and that has to do with signage, I guess.
I know, it's a shame.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
You don't want to know another hot spot. Deanna Rennie's Karma's Closet. She advertises on Facebook all the time. Yeah. She's got a party going on there every other day.
What?
So
Tell me about this. What
it's
is
a consignment shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's around the corner from McBride's Carpet. It's in that block of buildings on the south side.
She's having parties over there?
It's like, drink wine and shop, or get your fortune told and shop. All kinds of really fun things.
Drinking wine and shopping.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. She's having a party every day.
Yeah.
She's been doing, she see a lot of stuff with her on Facebook.
Yeah.
Now, what about you? Have you got a Facebook page out there?
I do. I have it's still my campaign one that I've had since I started the campaign in May that I put different stuff. But I did have a meeting at the state capitol today. They told me they're going to give me an official state rep one where constituents will be at any time. I mean, I give out my personal cell phone to everybody so people can call me, they can email me. But a lot of people do like contacting through Facebook, so they'll be able to do that too.
That's our next question then. How do they get a hold of you? For people, we should make sure they know that. How can people find you?
You go to Facebook, Gary Turco, you can type in, that's Turco. Contact me there.
Okay.
Or my email's easy. It's gary.turco@gmail.com.
Okay.
And my phone number
Yep.
This is my personal cell phone number.
Yep.
It's 860.
Yep.
For a good time.
For some really good legislation.
Or they yell at me about something, but it's 860-335-6122. But I got into this to try to make a difference and help people. And I told people throughout the entire campaign, I don't always know everything going on with every single constituency group or individual background. So people need to, to help me, inform me, educate me. I would knock on a nurse's door and she'd be telling me the changes that need to be done in the healthcare field. And I said to her, well, guess what? If I win this election, I want to hear from you, and you're joining with me. We're legislating together as a town, Republican, Democrat, and everyone's individual backgrounds, because I need that expertise. I don't want to make decisions blindly on what I think. I want to know, and the best way to know is by individual residents in the community telling me from their backgrounds and their knowledges.
Now, Paul Doyle is gone, Tony Guerrero is gone, so who's taking those two positions?
So we have Matt Lesser. And we have Kerry Wood.
Okay.
And I know Kerry Wood for a very long time. She was president of the Connecticut Young Democrats statewide organization right before I was president of it years and years ago. So we have a friendship there. And Rick Lopes is back.
Okay,
he's our dean of the delegation now.
Good. Yeah. And it's you've got big shoes, man, between Sandy Nafis and then of course going over to Gary. And I mean, the biggest thing is just making sure that you're listening closely to what's happening here in town. Now, I know the mayor does certain hours because he's in town. I know every week you have hours at your office. When's that again?
Thursdays, 9 to 10 at the Senior Center, 5:30 to 6:30 in my office.
And this is every Thursday?
Every Thursday,
so will it
except this coming Thursday, the 5th, because I'm going away.
Okay, but after that, you'll be back.
So, yes.
Okay. So then are there going to be times when you'll do things here in the town of Newington and people can come talk to you, or you have any plans for things like that?
Yeah, most certainly. I wanted to do something similar to what the mayor does, which I think is great, and having that set time. Here's where I'll be, when I'll be, every single week.
Hard to do that.
But with the different committees that I'll be on, they're not as much of a set schedule. You can have meetings being called all the time. So it'll be something that I'll have to announce through Facebook, using the rare reminder, Newington Town Crier, announcing it through there, letting people know, next Thursday I'll be at the library between 7 and 9. Come by, ask me questions if you'd like to do that in person. But I also am willing to set up individual appointments with people based on their schedules, meet at Starbucks or King Donut or something like that.
Yeah, and you guys, we should probably put that on our website too.
Mediterranean Market's up by you. Great place.
Yes, really nice people there.
Great place.
Good feta cheese, too.
Excellent feta cheese. Try the Bostorma.
Okay.
All right.
Very good.
Hey,
all right.
One more for you. One more for you. The November 9th edition of the Hartford Courant, you stated your position as a state representative is a stepping stone. You see yourself, quote, involved in politics in Washington, D.C., unquote.
Ah, okay.
So
I said in the November 9th article about it being a stepping stone?
Yeah.
November when?
Huh.
In the Courant.
I didn't remember saying that. No, my only intention right now is to do the best possible job I can for Newington in the state role. People have asked me since I started running, so what's next for you after this? Do you have these big grand plans? I said, well, first let me get elected, and I did, which is wonderful. Now let me do the best possible job I can for the people here in Newington. Actually, I think it might have been Mark DePaul that asked me that. If you're elected, what would you do from there? And I think I told him the same type of thing. Well, if I do this amazing job for the town of Newington, and another position opens up one day, and people say, well, can you do an amazing job for Newington and now do it for more towns? Maybe there's that possibility, but I need to prove myself here first and make sure I'm doing the best I can for our constituents.
One last one. What do you think Daniel Malloy's legacy is going to be?
I was speaking to someone about this today. I think Governor Malloy I think will be judged more favorably in the future. Right now he has very low popularity rating. But he made a lot of tough decisions, like I mentioned, with funding our pension liabilities and cutting our. People don't realize that he cut the state budget. It's at lower amount than it was during Governor Rell. He cut state employees back to the numbers it was under El Grasso. So he made a lot of tough decisions and did a lot of things that. Right now, we're not seeing the result for, and hopefully
we just see the blood.
Right, and hopefully in the next 4 years, already it seems like our budget the deficit is closing, and we're starting to get a little bit more revenue in there. Starting to see more job growth. We have more tech companies coming in. That the things he did, we'll start to see the benefits from, and he'll be judged a little more favorably.
Okay, and then we're going to do one more only because it's on the monitor, and then I know you got to cover some things.
Yeah.
Gun control, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think...
you packing tonight?
No, not personally.
So Ellen usually takes the guns at the door before you come into the studio, so I just want to make sure.
Yeah. Right now, I think
we've already argued about this.
Yes,
okay, go ahead.
we've had our
Let's
discussions.
hear it.
I think Connecticut right now, I think we have very strong gun control provisions, which I support. I support a ban on assault weapons.
Yeah.
I wish we had universal background checks as a country, but we do a good job here in Connecticut. There's a couple other loopholes that we're going to discuss this legislative session between the ghost guns, the making sure that the guns are properly locked and stored in some areas like that.
What are ghost guns?
Those are guns where you can buy pieces that are almost completely finished without a serial number.
Oh, okay.
You take a drill press
Really?
or files, you can finish them up, you buy the parts, put together a gun.
And then there's concerns with 3D printing of
I was
guns.
about to say that, the 3D
I'm most likely going to support those further gun control issues, but I do not want to get rid of the Second Amendment. I want people to have, rifles and handguns for hunting and protection and things like that. But the assault weapons and making sure that the proper people have guns and that they are trained to use it, I think is important.
Good. Mr. Mayor, Gary, you can hang for a few minutes because we've only got a few minutes till the end of the show. Is there anything else that you wanted to ask Gary before?
I think that's it. Let's see. Let me see. Blah, 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 blah.
I warned him you were coming. Just make sure we're bringing him in.
I think we're all set.
Good.
I think we're all
I'd be more than happy once the legislative session starts and the bills really get rolling and there's all different proposals out there to come back and talk about them in more detail.
We appreciate that. We know that when it gets really going, sometimes it's tough, and the time that your time is very valuable as far as your time that you spend up there. But any updates you can shoot to us, email to us, or whatever, even just a quick text.
I will note that the second January meeting, which would be the fourth Tuesday, the legislative delegation will be at the Newington Town Council meeting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Terrific.
So,
now, the only thing I didn't really have a chance to ask you and to clarify it, what is your day-to-day? What do you do as a regular job? What is your profession? I mean, I hear what you did up at you've worked up at the Capitol for a while, but if somebody says, so what does Gary Turco do for a living?
Sure. Well, after I got my master's at Central in Communication, I've been doing communications business development for tech companies, startup companies.
Two techies here,
for a number of years.
Yeah.
But now I'm devoted full time to being a legislator, although I plan on doing some other part-time work because it doesn't pay very well. So I want to try to give everything I have to doing this job well and not have a lot of other distractions, but got to supplement the income a little. So we'll figure it out.
All right, Mr. Mayor, what are you on to cover?
all right, real quick before we sign off.
Oh, yeah, because it is. I don't know how many minutes we have to go. I have from the booth, blank. But there we go. 5 minutes.
I got to speak fast. All right, we're still looking for nominees for Volunteer of the Year. Go to the town's website. Look for the link for Volunteer of the Year nominations.
Okay.
We're looking for volunteers for the 150th Anniversary Celebration Steering Committee.
Wow, when's
We've received 5 or 6. We'd like to get a steering committee of 21. Again, you can apply. There's a form on the town's webpage. Fill it out.
What is the town's webpage?
NewingtonCT.gov. G-O-V.
Yeah,
You don't know that?
Well, I always ask. Stuff a Truck this weekend is Stop and Shop.
NewingtonCT.gov.
On Kitts Lane. Stuff a Truck this weekend is Stop and Shop on Kitts Lane. Terrific. I just saw this.
Oh, it's another one?
Yeah, that's Stuff a Truck.
Oh, all right.
I don't know what. Didn't we do Stuff a Cruiser? Stuff a Truck.
All right.
And it's at 10 a.m. this weekend.
One last thing I got to put on my crown for this, because this is one of the things I'm really pleased about. We're finally gotten started on the pink bag recycling project, where instead of taking worn-out clothing or shoes or pocketbooks or eyeglasses and putting them in the trash that causes that we'd have to pay to dispose of, you put them in the pink bag, put it out next to your blue bin on your recycling day. A van comes around, picks up your full pink bag, and leaves you 2 empty pink bags.
Okay, so tell me again what goes in here. Clothing?
Clothing, jewelry, pocketbooks, shoes.
Really?
Yes.
And how often does this go out when we do our recycling?
Well, same as your recycling.
Okay. And then you take the bag and they leave a couple more behind?
Right.
Wow, that's neat.
And what it does is it keeps stuff out of the trash disposal cycle, so we don't have to pay to recycle your old sneaker, to dispose of your old sneakers.
So instead of taking them, just throwing them in Goodwill, where maybe they're not in the condition to go to Goodwill.
Right.
Okay, so obviously if the stuff's in good shape.
There is some sorting of the stuff going on.
Yep.
And good stuff will go to a place like Salvation Army or Savers.
Okay.
Worn out sneakers, T-shirts that are more holes than fabric, they go into the big recycling mill and get recreated as something else. So I know East Hartford's done it, Rocky Hill's doing it, we're getting started on it. Yes, there have been some hiccups at the start, but we're ready to go forward. Also, don't forget, just in time for Christmas, in January, the second property tax assessment is due. So start looking for that stub.
So our tax is going to be going down?
Ask him.
That's the goal. That's what I'll be working
That's our
towards.
goal. Yeah, we'll be working towards bringing the taxes down a little bit. Oh, my gosh.
But, and I know I'm going to get a few calls from people. Well, I got this letter. I'm delinquent on my taxes. How come I didn't get a second bill? I said, you got the bill the first time. There's 2 parts. Well, I couldn't find it. Well,
Yep.
Keep track of it. Put it on the refrigerator with a magnet.
Gosh.
So.
And also want to, just because we are coming up, and in the month of December, or at the end of the month of December 30th, we always note the passing of Peter Lavery. So our thoughts and prayers are with Peter Lavery's family and friends and loved ones. We always have that gathering. Down there, and I think
that's right.
On the evening of the 30th, like around 10 o'clock, 9:30, 10 o'clock.
In front of the police station, put a wreath up, and that's all it is. It's all about Peter. It's not about speeches or anything else.
It's just a very quiet night, and remembering Peter and all the wonderful things he's done. Yeah. All right, folks. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Kwanzaa, everything else, and thank you so much, and the best of health and happiness in the year moving forward. I'm Steve Parker. He's your mayor, Roy Z. And thank you very much, Gary Turco, special guest tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
All right. We'll catch you next time on your community access television station. Wait a minute. I want to thank Joe Trombetta, Robert J. Blank, Ellen Schiller, John Donahue, and Scott Allo, our great volunteers.
Here.
Take care. Bye-bye.